very, very encouraging. I know we announced the Youstart program with a package of 10 billion Ghana cedis, which is really the largest intervention in the country's history as we see it. The intention was to have government contribute 1 billion cedis each year for the next 3 years, looking at international financial partners and development partners, another 2 billion, that will make it 5, and then the participating banks here looking at recalibrating their portfolio for 5 billion CDs for the SME type financing going forward. As we mentioned, we're to begin this whole process of creating an entrepreneurial nation so that our students, our youth will have the capacity to really realize their own potential, and the state then to show the visible hand of its presence through what you may call enabling factors such as skill set, access to capital, and then reducing or mitigating the risk of entrepreneurship, which is key for people to take that. But I think one thing that has been disturbing is the seeming takeover of this poverty of aspiration, where people give up or they expect that jobs can only come through the public sector, and really reviving the genius of the Ghanaian entrepreneur, but making sure that you somehow make it easier for that, and that the risk tolerance is good. But it's, you know, you look at our demographics, and below the age of 24, we're talking about 56% of our population of 30.8 million. And the question, you know, really becomes, you know, what do you do to be able to absorb that number of people and to really arrest this indignity of not having a job, you know, after you've been educated? And what does a country do for its citizens? I mean, and that is what we know. We know some 6 million people, I think by 2030 to be 9 million people that we need to address. So we need to begin to cure it by now. If you look at the triangle of education, you may have about 4.6 million people in kindergarten, and then we move up to primary school, and then you end up with some 1.8 million people in primary school. And you ask your question, so what happened to the 2.8 million who have become invisible? You move from primary school to GHS, and then you know, you have another 1.2 million or so, and it just continues to that nature till you get to tertiary. So in each gap, you know, it's us as a nation losing people, and how do we intervene to make sure that appropriate skill sets are there, and that the access to capital is there, and people begin to also take entrepreneurship, you know, as a first resort as opposed to the last resort. So the 10 billion package is critical to begin to push the flywheel for us to be able to get our youth working, and really how do we burden share to be able to do that, you know. So really grateful to the banks for stepping in at the time that they did, and really for the national lotteries to take the initiative in this regard, so that we all put our shoulders to the wheel to stop a potential disaster in the future. So I'm sure e-levy will come to help to give us more money, but we'll talk about that one later. So, you know, Honorable Chairman and Mr. CEO, this is an important fillip for us at the ministry. Your recognition of the importance of supporting this, the role and the centrality of the youth, if anything is going to be successful in future, you know, how we leverage them to be able to use their skill set. And Youstart, I think, is going to be one of those household names in which all of our youth will resort to, and there will be a means of engaging them in productive work. So once again, you know, sincere appreciation for what you have chosen to do, and we look forward to doing some more work with you in that regard. So thanks.
NLA is one of our core business required by the arts to do so, to support the youths and the needies in the environment, that is Ghanaian's environment. So the initiative on the budget for the 2022 by the finance minister, by going through it, we realize that it is a very important cause that we have to support, and it will engage and train the youths and take them from the streets and equip them so that by so doing, our task network will be grown enough so that everybody will contribute. If you contribute a very penny, and it will run up. As when we are 20 million youths, and they are all paying 7% with withholding tax. You can see where we are heading to. So we just started. We will do more of that.
But what went into the NLA arriving at an amount of 10 million cedis for the donation?
It's a good causes foundation. We have a good corporate social responsibility package. So it's not only that we do. Any other body that apply, individuals who are in the hospital, who are in need of something, apply to us. We come to their aid. It's not, to arrive on the 10 million, that is a job for the arts, even mandated to do.
And for me, I'm quite curious because I've monitored NLA for some time now. And last year, I know that you had some financial difficulties. And so this year, one will be quite surprising to know that you managed to get 10 million, not to fund your own operations, but rather fund the Youstart. I mean, this will turn around.
You see, maybe you are hyping this thing from outside, that NLA had a financial crisis. NLA is one of the institutions you can count on. We are not in any bank facilities, but we are surviving on our own because we are creating a lot of initiatives. So that is giving us power to contribute. I don't know where that is coming from. That last year they were in a financial crisis. Apart from that, the COVID that came to crash many businesses. NL is part of it, but we are surviving on our own, and we are creating our initiatives. Our bigger and the biggest headache is to get rid of the illegal lotto operators from the system. When we do that, NLA is good to go.